This is the Sim Pit. This is Michi Hoya, and welcome to today's edition of a very, very special show. It's my personal insight show for the Sim Racing Expo 2080, which has taken place already 10 days ago. So, the weekend before, actually, the weekend that has just passed. I thought about, because things were not being casted very general, I would say. I would like to give a little bit more info about what's happened on that Sim Racing Expo on the personal side of life, also what I could see from the event itself. Welcome everyone to today's show, and I hope you guys enjoyed somewhat some sort of a flashback from the Sim Racing Expo 2018. Since a lot of guys are really not able to come to Nürburgring, which is a shame. I mean, I'm very happy as a German that the Sim Racing Expo takes place in Germany literally every year. And I have to find a different seat position. Like, usually I'm racing in a very different way, but right now I'm doing something completely different. So I need to find a different seat position. Anyway, as I said, I would like to give you a little bit more info and insight in it. You guys know the Simpit was not able to come here, so I want to cover up a little bit on that, what was going on. Anyway, so what has happened at Sim Racing Expo a lot is so much I actually cannot go into detail, but I've selected a few pictures of which I'm thinking that they might be worth showing. And with all that being said, we want to go into the first into the first video, or not into the first video, but into the first slide. Get that dire show running again. Here we are. So what happened first? On a Thursday, I set off from home and drove to my father, which is living right at that here. And yeah, I only met him a few years, so every single time I go to Expo, I actually make my way up to him. Yes, Devin, someone said Expo. So moving on, car was packed. I had more than just one ACR Zakspeed gear in. And quickly want to go on. So arriving on the Friday afternoon, that was the massive stage. So they pulled up, I think 10 or 11 actor races in front of a very big screen. So when we speak about actor races, for those who are not familiar with, this is one of the so-called actor races. There we go. Oh, too bad. Can't do it a bit bigger, but I think you guys kind of know where I'm coming from. So those simulators are acting forwards, backwards, sideways. They also have a little tilt, so the entire rig up here is movable in 3 dimensions, and the rig itself also moves on that little trail here in the back. It's a triple screen. It got the sim racing hardware button box, the one I do race as well. And well, they have been built with various types of sim racing gear. So some had Fanatec V3 pedals, others just had Heusinkfeld pedals. Same with the wheelbase, some Fanatec 2.5, and then I also saw some Leah Botner. So it was a little bit of, well, I don't want to say disadvantage, but basically it was. So all those actor races not being identical, which I think, I'm not sure whether it really has affected the sim racing competition going on the big screen, but it definitely gave some people a headache, whether we're talking about real sim racing from that perspective, and equal sim racing with everything being fair. So what also was going on there? So that was the massive LED stage where they put up schedules over the day or showed the overall broadcast and the overall activity that went on the stage. Here on the left hand side, that was the actual stage place. You also see those little couches where people had interviews, where people had yeah, a nice scenery to talk about. So literally that was the whole setup about SimracingExpo, and I'm just gonna say I have not too many pictures ready for you guys, but I'm going into details step by step. Gonna remain silent for a split second. So that was basically the first kind of event where we met. So the Virtual Racing Lounge put up a simulator with Assetto Corsa, not Assetto Corsa Competizione, a little motion rig. So literally everything you really drove was at least load cell pedals and direct drive, and some of them, well, most of them rigs have been utilized with motion. Yeah, I see that. I do have something going on in... hold on. Something is pulling internet quite a lot there. No, it's not Steam apparently. Actually, as far as I can see, it's the provider that has some issues, it seems. Because here the standard uprate should be fine. This is weird. Anyway, I tried to go on and somehow hope that it fixes from itself. Because literally everything, every service that is kind of running that could kill it, or that could really hamper the well, just for the sake of it, I've tried to close everything. This seems like a familiar issue I've had recently. And this, yep. So yeah, I hope that the frame and that the uprate somewhat goes up. Yeah, I kind of do not know what is going on currently. But I can see the lack that is going on. It's like, meanwhile, daily I'm about to restart my machine, and I'm about to restart my my internet connection, so it's kind of mess. But actually, I don't want to mess with it around right now. Oh dear. I'm really sorry, guys, because right now I've like killed everything that could be killed. I go even further with that. Whatever it is right now, I have no control of it. So, you know what, chaps? I go on from all over again and simply restart the internet and go live again. I'll be back in a split second. Alright guys, I'm very sorry, so I am finally back. I just found out what kind of device in the house was killing all the internet by updating itself. So, with that being fixed, I hope that the lag is somewhat disappeared now, so we can go on in wherever we were. So, yes, coming back to this simulator, to this competition. I'm not really sure whether there was something that could have been won, but they pulled up a competition on Assetto Corsa. And basically, I want to see, nope, not really able to go back. I want to stop the picture anyway. We were on a leaderboard there with a few other people there from that are reasonably seen in race room. So anyway, this virtualracinglounge.com is the R seat seller here for Germany and Austria. So we're sitting on the actual play seat of RS seat, the one that is currently also located in the house of Sean whenever he gets ready with his move. So wasn't very accurate one. Nice Sparco wheel, definitely DD wheel. So that was a good competition. I just had one go literally, and I think I ended somewhere up the front page, like P8 or P9 actually. Yeah, it was, you come to SimracingExpo and everything is either load cell brake or hydraulic brake, or well, you definitely no potentiometer in there. So it's quite an unusual feeling in the first place. So difficult to adapt to it. However, other guys did better with that, and I think René Kirchhoff came second in the end, or third. So he was really one of the top guys there. And Richard Schaefer from ACR Zakspeed was in fourth position or something in the end. So yeah, that was a good sign up. There was a good show going on at this particular stand. So end of the evening, I also have them here. I need to stop that. We had those accreditations, and I still got them obviously. So here for the Blancpain, we had a paddock access that was being paid in in the event with the GT500 on iRacing. You had this driver accreditation. It was kind of nice sketched to have them hang around the neck. So yeah, anyway, and that is just on a side note. Also, this is the rig at Wave Italy. So Sean also already has reviewed those impetus pedals by Wave Italy, and they are really great. I had the first chance driving on them, and they were so smooth, so powerful and strong, and so responsive to whatever you did. They felt literally perfect. I really liked them. If I would compare them to Heusingfeld, I would say that Heusingfeld is a little less reliable on the brakes. Saying the Heusingfeld brake didn't really give me that much of a feel inside on the brake pedal itself. So yeah, those I really can recommend those Wave Italy pedals. They have a high price. I think it's about 1,500 euros or something. So they are pretty expensive, but they are highly customizable, and to me, what I just saw and felt, they're highly resistant and highly powerful brake pedals, or pedals in general. When you go to one of these shows, how much driving do they allow you to do? It depends. On Wave Italy, right there, where I was doing some race rooming, those simulators were literally who comes first serves first, and how long you wanted to go, basically. And on other simulators, they had their F1 rim with it, which we're gonna see later in that show. And on that, I was able to do 5 laps on 4 timed laps on Nürburgring GP circuit. So there was a little bit of time possible, especially since the F1 rim was in a competition. But once again, we speak about that later. Speaking about those two again, so the accreditation also came together with the catering, and the catering literally was inside a VIP lounge on the top of the grandstand of the Nürburgring, and I'm gonna show you a lot of footage of the real life track and the starts, and so you can kind of get a sense of sound, because you really had those. I mean, you see them speakers right here in the roof, and this is where the track commentator was coming from, and he was like clearly understandable when there was no car around whatsoever. But once them cars sweep by, you're gonna see yourself very soon. Talking about the other guys that were here, so right there we were with rFactor 2. So I think it was a can't read it. A precision wheel there. So definitely direct drive. They had hoising pedals. They had a triple screen. They had 2 simulators, and they also brought their new content. So Sebring, the official track being produced by Studio 397, laser scanned version. I think the first laser scan track anyway. With a brand new McLaren MP4-13 and the brand new McLaren MP4-8. So there was a lot of announcing going on with rFactor 2, and eventually we had a go on those simulators right there. So actually they had some joking going on with me here. Right now you can hear Christopher Elliott and Marcel Offermans.
Go then. Okay.
So someone was placing in a 38. I think I did low 39. It was the first car with me driving that car, obviously. It was so much fun. Really, I can really recommend those McLarens. They are great. Great physics, great job, great work being done by Studio 397 there. So yeah, I can really encourage you to have some go with them. Hey Norman, thank you for joining in.
Look at that handwork.
Like what?
I just heard something.
You enjoying yourself?
A lot.
So yeah, as I was just saying, a lot of joking was going on right there. And by the way, as you can see, ADAC Simracing here in the chat, that is Amir, who was also with me on SimracingExpo, at least for the Saturday. So he had a lot of stuff going on as well. And this was one of those other events going on SimracingExpo. So here we had the start of the first race of the Formula Renault 3.5 cars. Have like 3 or 4 videos of video footage, and you guys can really try to listen to that track commentator. That is very easy to understand as long as there's no engine sound. David, thank you so much for following. Welcome to the show. So Formula Renault Europe Cup, that is what the race was about, and it was it's just so endless until the last car gets into the spot. Like the leaders is standing over a minute, and in real Formula 1 you would now start to speak about what about temperatures and whatnot. But you guys may want to enjoy it. It's a very short video though. And I'll just listen to that sound. Those Renaults, by the way, have been so dominant. And by Renaults I mean the black and yellow ones, like the real F1 Renault team. You see them right here, position 2, 3 and 5. Thank you, Diver Dave. thank you for the follow-up. Well, that's literally everything you kind of see from racetrack at this position. No, K-Doc, there were not too many people in the grandstands. I saw that last year already in that Simracing Expo, where the real event on the racetrack is always the Blancpain GT Sprint Series. It's always the final. There has been more this year though. Most of the people are sitting in the Mercedes-Benz grandstand, since it's the more closest to Sector 1 and the best way you can see from. Norman, I would love to give some insight on the Norman on the new rims on the Podium Series, but this Fanatec booth has been so freaking busy. I haven't really had a touch on it yet. Maybe KA Sim Racing. So Amir, if you had, I think you had a go on the Podium Series direct drive wheels. So if you may want to refer to Norman, I would greatly appreciate that. So we're right now on a Saturday afternoon. We had some meal in the VIP lounge, where catering service was being booked to keep the sim racers happy as well. And right here over the top, I mean, that is obviously track and a nice grandstands up here, but over the top there were some LCD screens where you could follow the activities that were going on down in the Simracing Expo in the big hall. So whatever happened down there in those races, whether this was the ADAC Porsche GT Trophy or the GT 500 race, everything could be covered up and seen from the top there, up in that booth. So that was going on. Then I think we had the start of GT3, Blancpain Sprint Race Series Race 1. I simply enjoy it.
Die Fahrzeuge kommen jetzt hier in den Eingangsbereich Jaguar-Kurve. Auch da muss man noch die Formation halten. Ampel ist hier auf Rot geschaltet. Das Ein-Stunden-Rennen kann freigegeben werden, wenn das alles ordentlich und super passiert. Bortolotti gibt das Tempo vor. Hier kommen sie, die GT3s. Hier kommen sie, die jetzt auf die Mercedes-Arena sind.
When you look at them right now from the far distance, how much noise they still do, and the moment when they sweep by on the start-finish line and the track commentator voice simply disappears in the sound of the engines. And I've done this video on purpose for an entire lap, so you're now gonna see them, or very soon gonna see them come up into turn 10, 11 after the Schumacher has to enter into the third sector. And towards back towards the start-finish line then, very soon, since I can hear them now. So that is how much sound they really produce, that is just phenomenal. Sadly, they didn't put on the LCD screen there on the other side for the Saturday. They somehow, I want to say, forgot about it. It was on the Sunday then. Yeah, Nicolas, it was a lot of fun, and now see how much sound they do and how much noise they do as they sweep by after lap 1, which is also the end of that video then. Really can hear the different sounds of the cars, and Yeah, it was so awesome, really. Anyway, coming back to what was going on, you saw that Lambo here real quick. So there was also the Lamborghini Super Trofeo going on, and I had some interesting talks with Dennis Lind, who is currently driving such a Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo car. That is not the actual race car, this is just a standard road car. You can see them race cars there in the background. Once again, I did not do too many pictures right there. Anyway, going on, this was the absolute phenomenal, and I think probably the most intense and most interesting simulator on the entire SimracingExpo. We had this Wave Italy F1 rim, which we're going to see later. We had Vesaro there, which really some sort of disappointed me. We had Tornad there, which I'm going to talk a little bit about right after this. And yeah, we had the other guys there. So iRacing had a booth with some simulators. We saw Assetto Corsa Competizione on the InSim simulator. I had the pleasure to be over 1 hour on that InSim simulator. KA Sim Racing was with me as we were both doing some comparison runs over the entire rig, over the motion rig, and they've said it's so powerful until I like flew from left and right when going through the quick chicanes and stuff. But and the CEO of that company really was like, "Are you serious? You're running that high velocity on that sim racing rig? We do not even do when testing." So that was big fun. That was really big fun. Sadly, I do not have a picture nor a video up there, but KA Sim Racing might be ready to post some at some point. So make sure to follow his channel, and make sure to follow the Discord channel of the Sim Pit. I think it's a Patreon perk there. I'm not really sure about this, but this is really good, and is really worth it. You get access to so many insights into sim racing. And it's really great time you guys are gonna enjoy there. Norman, has there been any conversation about when we can get our hands on new Porsche wheels? And no, I don't think I heard anything of it, Norman. And me, if you heard anything, you might you might correct me. And yeah, I had a lot of fun in that InSim rig. Once you sit in the first time and it is not like personalized very well to yourself, you feel like a bit off and you feel like a bit bad, and you're like, no, I'm not sure whether I enjoy this. But the more the sim racing rig or the motion rig was being optimized to my personal liking, the more I enjoyed it. So there you go. If you want to check out the video about the InSim booth, check out KA Sim Racing channel and see what was going on right there. Since you are here, let me quickly look for it and bring it up. There we go. It is a full half an hour. I'm quickly gonna bring it up right here.
Oh, no, you're good.
So that is this InSim simulator with Assetto Corsa Competizione on it, and you see it shaking, so a lot of butt kickers in between. It was so good. It was so fun. Really, usually that was a simulator where it took 5 minutes in, or where you had like an out lap and a timed lap to do, and then it was like half another lap until the 5 minutes have completely expired. I think I was sort of trapped
you guys built this rig, InSim,
in that simulator for an hour, I think. They really had a lot of research and development going on with me, which I'm really happy about, and is a big privilege. I really honor them a lot for that. So if you want to go check that out, look for KA Sim Racing right there, and check out his channel. Coming back to this though, I'm gonna speak about it once we're inside that video, because I had the pleasure to take a drive in that Porsche GT3 Cup car with my basically with one of my engineers from Formula Sim Racing. Here we are, me in the driver's seat, him in the passenger seat, Fabian Root. So I also gonna let this run for the full 4 minutes, despite it's very long. But this was so awesome, just driving out of the pits. I can surely instantly remember what my feelings were right there. Basically I watched this video like 3 or 4 times back then, and every single time I enjoyed it so much. Like it actually felt like being back in that simulator once again. So it definitely was such a good experience. The Menace, as far as I know, the simulation in question was rFactor 2. Might actually have been rFactor Pro. I'm pretty sure one of Sean's Simpy Pit Crew guys can tell the laser cutter. If you might see that video back then, you might be able to tell. From the looks of it, it could be rFactor Pro. So basically that is their entire setup. I want to stop it. Ah, for God's sake. I'm sorry. Can I somehow speed that up though? No, apparently I can't. I'm sorry. Seems like we have to go all over again, but what I wanted to show you is that they thought about everything. Right here we had a mirror. Right there you can see the mirrors being simulated as well. And Devin, if you're still watching, I meanwhile know why they do so. What can I do up here? Nothing. Okay. So Devin, you remember that they were sitting on the server on a server to do that session. What they actually did was having this car being on the server with yeah, whatever you see, and they also had a second car on the server which you have seen the view from in the mirror. So the mirror here at the top, the side mirrors on the left hand side, on the right hand side of the car, those backwards views were generated by another car sitting in this server, being spectating the driving car. So that is how they simulated the rear drive picture into those mirrors, so to say, by simply given a second point of view towards that car. Yes, exactly, Devin. That is basically what they did. After thinking about it, the day or 2 days after I came home, I was like, yeah, surely that must have been the reason why. About the car itself, it's an original Porsche. They've just removed the engine and put in a direct drive wheel and 2 PCs. Actually, I had a look into under the bonnet on Sunday when they packed their things together. So all they basically have to do is remove the steering soilers out of the car, put it into the direct drive wheel, and then the simulator can be driven. And if they want to move the car, they simply put it back, and then they can move the car and yeah, put it wherever it needs to be going. The rig itself got 2 Cyfat seats, I think it is, and they were very accurate. Like every little bump was being simulated, and actually Devin also had a go in this simulator, and he reported the problem of the wheel being solid and the wheel being not moving. And I can understand that, because it was really just the sorry, just the seat itself that was moving over there. Pedals were original, there was an original clutch, there was the original hydraulic brake system, original throttle, everything was original. Even in the middle console there have been switches, as you can see right down there. Air conditioning was running, you could have turned on the wiper, stuff like that. Yeah, it was. I think it was an actual or an really great experience to drive it right there. Sadly, one of the microphones have been blocked by a finger. There we go. Yeah, Devon, I hear you. So that was actually that was a funny story. Devon came in and it was like, hey, the pizza guy is here now, and I couldn't make up my mind what was going on. And at first I was like, who's that dude? Until like 5 minutes it took me until I asked him, who are you, by the way? And he said, I'm Devon. And I'm like, for God's sake. Yeah, that's the internet as well. You know, you do not see the faces of people all the time. So yeah, that happens sometimes, does it? Anyway, moving on in the little diet show. So next up we have been at the Actor Racer, and I'm not sure whether I should defend myself. I had already drunk 2 beer at that point. Now you can moan, never drink and drive and stuff. And yeah, in the end, I crashed this car like 2 or 3 times, but you just want to have a look at it. This has been one of those actor races, so you can see the button box I'm also using at home. Yeah, Devon, probably, you know, I'm not really following this general chat too often, to be honest. But yeah, if I had my brain switched on correctly, I would have definitely known from the very first minute. Anyway, this was this actor racer we then raced on the other side on the day afterwards, and it is so powerful rig, really. Like it's nearly really violent. Jack Heatley had a massive headache after the GT500 after driving that simulator.
Whatever time you do, I'll beat you. Whatever time you do.
So that was Olli Pakkala giving me a really challenge, and I think obviously he won in the end. But you can, just from looking at it, I think you can already sort of see what was going on that rig, motion wise. So yeah, with me not being used to the car and not fairly often raced that Assetto Corsa sim, it was a complete shaking event right there. Actually, Devon, that could be. I would need to ask and make sure, but it could well be that this is this P310 wheel. As I said, those actor racers all have different setups, which was a bit meh. Oh yeah, I mean I enjoy pizza a lot as well, so this is all looking good. Anyway, I'm not gonna go through the full thing. So that was Sunday morning. The view up towards the Nürburg, which is well, also the city, but this castle up right there on the top of the hill. Next up, I'm gonna stop it real quick. This was a Formula 1 simulator by Visaro in virtual reality. I'm not sure if there was anyone who drove it. I saw Mark Puchert being the Aussie Simracing stick. I think he had a go in it. This is just an 8 or 9 second video, but look at the geometry of the suspension when the driver turns the wheel and stuff. sadly, this this F1 car was being a bit up in the air, a little bit in a tilt, so the suspension geometry wasn't all right when it was on the ground. Anyway, I think sitting in that car, well, I would have loved to have a go on it. Speaking about Visaro real quick anyway, they have super duper expensive simulators, and they also had one of their biggest simulators with them in the McLaren, with a McLaren rim. So this entire simulator is like 2.5 meters long and 1.5 meters wide, and it stands on 4 fully hydraulic feet that can give you so tiny and so sensitive input, which is so nice. But they had iRacing as a simulator, and they had turned VSync on, so the input lag was massive. And I'm not sure if there's a video from it. It might still come. Anyway, this car though was a Formula BMW that is still in service, and they use it for the Nürburgring Academy. So there is an academy course you can book for, I think, 380, 390 euros, and you have a full day of theory to then go around on the Nürburgring from turn 5 to turn 8, which is Dunlop, up the Schumacher S, and then you take the shortcut back to that turn 5. So the southern part of the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit only. And I think you can have a 20-minute drive. It's a semi-manual or sequential stick shift, so you have to put in a clutch, and you have a stick shifter on the right-hand side. I'm sure that I put up a second video there, a second picture. The pedals in the nose are so closely located to each other that with standard shoes you were at all times pushing clutch and brakes at the same time. It is really so close located in between. So yeah, there was a responsible guy beside that, and he said, yeah, basically when you do racing, you have special shoes that are pretty thin, and then it seems like being no worries. But my sporting running shoes I had with me on Expo was they were so wide, so I touched both pedals at the same time. I'm not sure whether you can see the stick. It is right down here, somewhere there. But everything else is still official, is still original. There was smell of fuel inside the car. No, I can't see the stick shifter. Fire extinguisher was being seen there, and yeah, it was a nice experience sitting in the car. Jack Heathley also had a go in it, so it's not only pictures of me. Yes, the Menace. The Formula BMW has been used, or has been simulated in the Life for Speed simulation. Moving on, that was the SimRacing Expo 2018 drivers briefing in the Nürburgring Cinema, so a place for I think 250 people to watch a film. Anyway, that was the place where we had our drivers briefing for the GT500. It was also the place of the drivers briefing for the ADAC Porsche Sim Racing Trophy, the single event the day before. And real life race director of German DTM, I think, was race director as well on the SimRacing Expo races. So it was good to see this combination between real life racing and sim racing again. Hey Sadas. So here were our drivers. Well, not me, but Jack Heathley and René Kirchhoff, who were going on that simulator. And here you see that was our SimRacing Expo GT500 rig. So the Actor Racer with a I think it's a 2.5 wheelbase from Fanatec. I'm not sure whether it was a Porsche rim or not. And I think pedals, we had a V3 Fanatec V3 pedal base. yes, Headers, I'm definitely planning for those Wave Italy pedals as soon as I got a solid rig in. Little picture from our position. So you saw some simulators right here. Those were the actuators being given by the adrenaline bar to the GT500 people. Then you had a lot of teams down on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side with their own rigs, and they definitely had an advantage sitting in their own rig. Excuse me. Because they were literally, they had the chance to do practice on a Saturday night, wherever they were sitting, and yeah, so they had their space right there. Other than that, the other guys were on the actor races, and all the guys on the actor races really complained about this heavy motion, which we were obviously not allowed to turn off. But yeah, people really some sort of mourned about making this a little bit unfair. But you know, that is what happens when you need to go on a rig being hosted by the by the organizer itself rather than your own one. It wouldn't have changed a lot on the result, maybe a few spots more up there, but I think we finished 26th in the end and could have probably been 20th on an own rig or something. No Sadders, I'm not thinking on a wheel just yet. So this was before the GT500 event, the big show up on the big presentation of all teams. Literally there was a little wording for every one of these. Was some good commentators. You see Manuel Wendel right here. Those two guys are usually commentating the real VLN on the Nürburgring, and I think that was Will Vincent. So there was a lot of, you know, it was the who's who of sim racing was located all in one spot. Sunday then, start of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. And for this day then, happily they managed to turn on the LCD screen, so you actually had a chance to see what was going on. The video is not that long really, and we're surely coming towards the end of of our little show here. Just gonna come back to the F1 rim of Wave Italy. And now I did a mistake. I thought guys were so short to the final turn, but they they nearly stopped in the final turn on the warm-up lap. So let's have a look then. You see them coming around here very soon. There they are. Yeah, I fucked it up with the camera, I need to admit. And now see how much more silent they are compared to the GT3s. They're still pretty loud, but quite expensive. And what I also like, look at the safety car coming right now. Always silent, you don't hear it. There was an awful lot of cars going on. Richard Schaefer then, he had a go in an Expo hot lap challenge and got second place. I want to go back on that picture real quick. So he came second right there, and he won, I think, a €200 voucher to get some material from their online shop. Hey BMX Fabio, thank you for the join. Other than that, yeah, I'm gonna skip these. Back at this F1 rim from Wave Italy, you see this LCD screen right here, which was actually working. It was showing every evidence and every necessary information on the wheel. All those buttons were working. And Wave Italy is the company that builds a simulator where the F1 Ferrari guys, so Sebastian Vettel, Kimi Raikkonen, in the near future, help me, Leclerc, will also drive this simulator for practicing. So you see brake bias here, gears, velocity, RPM, delta to the lap, current lap, tire temperatures, battery charging, or the battery status. Basically, here you had energy deploy, and here you had derate mode, what kind of mode you were going to have on the brake system on the rear axis. I think you had the amount of deploys right there. It was so great. It had a halo, and yeah, I will simply run that that dia show, the picture of 5 seconds, and then you guys gonna see what was going on right there. The LEDs, magnetic shifters, triple screen up ahead. The rig was smooth and nicely moving, and had some butt kickers in between. You see Jack Keithley having a go. And you see the different gauges here on the screen. That's why I put them so close to the lens. Yes, I do have the link to the company webpage. I'm gonna bring it up real quick after this dia show is finished. And I think I accidentally just finished it. I'm gonna show it at the end of the this show. And also, having a halo is not as much as a disadvantage as you would expect it to be. I think this halo usually is very well designed and very close to the real life halo as well. And it wasn't that big of a disadvantage, because your right eye and your left eye is looking around that middle thing, that middle foot. So yeah, it was here. You see that simulator in a bigger view, and it was really a great rig right there. And yeah, Jack was doing really well in it. I enjoyed it as well. I think we both had a run on Spa again, because last year the track was Spa where they tested it on from, and they wanted to have my feedback on it. So what it has improved, and I have to say it has improved a lot. The pedals were great. The entire rig was a little bit more smooth, and also more responsive in that perspective. So yeah, it was a great thing to drive, really great experience, and so much fun. So those are the final few pictures. I'm gonna leave the rest from it, because the other thing you're just going to see is me having a go on one of those solid rigs of Wave Italy, with a Wave Italy impetus pedals. And yeah, they really made a job for me. Those will be my pedals for choice, I hope at least. The wheel itself can also be bought. I just do not know about the price itself, but I'm gonna bring up the Wave Italy webpage, and you see this high quality pedals up there. So that was the VIP grandstand. The other grandstands just had like plastic chairs, and also look at the panorama view of the Nürburgring right there. It was just you could look on that day. You could look literally 100 kilometers into the northeast. Was so good to see. It's just a little panorama view going on from left to right. And that brings us towards the end of the show. So that was a little insights, a view into what was going on in SimracingExpo, and what kind of privileges I had, what kind of experiences I was able to do, what kind of plans that were forming up for me in the future. Right there, you see it. Go one picture back. Dia show. You see those are the usual chairs of the standard grandstands. So yeah, not say they're not unhandy, but it's literally zero or no comfort at all. So yeah, that was it. That was SimracingExpo 2018. Really had a great time there. I think that was a practice session or the qualifying session. It was Saturday morning when the GT3s had their go. They were so loud, and it was so nice to hear them roar by. Kind of hard to imagine what Formula 1 would sound like in the meanwhile. Anyway, something else I just wanted to show you real quick as a final bit. First of all, the Wave Italy homepage, so the experience, the ultimate motion simulators, and the shop where you can get the next generation sim racing devices. For God's sake, change it to EN. English, there you go, that looks better. So here, wave impetus pedals. So there you go, the wheel itself, and I think it's the old one, still 1890. That is the clutch only gadget, 450. Wave impetus Monster Sim Racing Pedals Pro, 1600. I might be looking for them rather than them. And also, I mean, they are also already mounted on the plate, and whatever you want to have, you can get these gadgets and things. The Wave Impetus Sim Pedals Pro, 1,500 euros. That you can also get them inverted. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on that page. Check it out. And last but not least, which is something very interesting for myself, the Tornet Game Changer. I'm not really sure whether this video is going to be pulled afterwards, but I'm just going to show you. As you know, look at my chair. That. This could be one of those gadgets that could be a game changer for me, really, because with that you've been able to plug pedals and wheels up behind your bi-road chair. I've driven it. It is quite solid for the use of it, and it's built up within seconds. I think the only issue you might have is the cable stuff, because obviously this has no cables right here. I'm not sure if, I mean, you can put load cell brakes on it. You can literally start putting the real deal to your bi-road chair. Oh, for God's sake, ads. Here you can see this thing in action with a Fanatec wheelbase. But you see, it's a little, you know, it moves around a little. Maybe also depends how stiff you make the entire gadget. But you can move up and down the wheel. You can move it forwards and backwards. Same with the paddles; they can be moved and tilted a bit. Anyway, so it's a Tornet game changer, and I think it's worth 400 euros. So, if that might be a way to go for you guys, feel free to give it a go and have a look at it. Sadly, I do not have a web page from them, since their current web page is under maintenance. So I'm sorry about that. Anyway, guys, that is it from me tonight. Not sure if there is more stuff going on, but I hope you guys, for those of you who haven't been there, had a little chance to get an inside view what was going on there. Next year I tried to do more pictures, and next year I tried to get the sim pit in. So that is the plans for next year, that's for sure. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like what you guys see, hit that thumbs up, hit that like button, share, subscribe, tell your friends, bring them to the show, and make them channels grow. And other than that, enjoy your Tuesday evening, enjoy your Tuesday or Wednesday, or enjoy your day whenever you're watching this video back on demand. This is the Sim Pit. I'm Michi, and I see you guys out on track.